Okay, so now we have comparisons of equality. The last set of videos was comparisons of inequality, and now we have comparisons of equality. So this is just the first screen that I'm going to put for you that just lets you know the three different ways in which we use comparisons of equality in Spanish. So there's a little bit of a glare. If I turn off the light, then I don't know if it gets better or worse. So we're just working with what we got over here. So with comparisons of equality, these are the three different ways in which they're used. The first way is we use comparisons of equality with adjectives and adverbs. Remember that adjectives describe people, places, and things. So adjectives describe nouns, and adverbs describe verbs. So how a verb is done. And the formula in Spanish for that is you're going to see the word tan, and then generally you're going to see an adjective or an adverb, and then the word como. So it's going to be as and as in English. Whenever we see example sentences of it, it will make more sense. But just in case you can't ever read what I have written up here, I will always say everything that I have written so that you don't have any doubt about it. So again, first way in which we use comparisons of equality with adjectives and adverbs. So an adjective might be, to use an example in our last set of sentences, an adjective would be intelligent. So somebody is as intelligent as somebody else. And adverb, she speaks Spanish as well as somebody else does. So an adverb describing the way in which somebody does something. So as intelligent as, or as well as, it will end up being tan, and then our adjective or our adverb, and then como in Spanish. Then the second way that we use comparisons of equality is with nouns. So there are a couple of different ways you will use. You will see it in Spanish, tanto or tanta or tantos or tantas, blah, 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 como. So notice that tanto is our masculine singular way. Tanta is our feminine singular way. Tantos is our masculine plural way, and tantas is our feminine plural way. So then in where we have this dot, 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 we'll usually see a noun, and then we have the word como. Notice that whenever we're using nouns with comparisons of equality, and our nouns are singular, we're using tanto or tanta, and it means as much something as somebody else, maybe. When we're using nouns with comparisons of equality and our nouns are plural, we have tantos or tantas, and then our como, and it's going to mean as many something as somebody. So where you see the dot, dot, dot is where you're going to usually find your noun in the sentence. So maybe something like, again, making a parallel structure to our examples that we did in the prior video with comparisons of inequality. With these comparisons of equality, this sentence might be, I don't know, if we were using tantos, I have as many dogs as she has. But we will see that in some example sentences. Just remember that when we use it with nouns, we will see tanto, tanta, if we're talking about singular, tantos, tantas, if we're talking plural. When it's singular, it's going to mean as much something as somebody else, and plural as many something as somebody else. Then finally, we use comparisons of equality with verbs, and we're going to see tanto como together. And this tanto is always going to stay in that form. It's never going to change to anything that looks feminine or plural or something like that. So we're going to have tanto como. Notice there's no dot, 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 because this is going to stay together. And it's always going to mean as much as. So we'll have some examples coming up right now. Comparisons of equality with adjectives and adverbs. The first one that I'm doing is gonna be with adjectives, but they have the same structure. So I wanted to go ahead and leave this up on the board. So with adjectives and adverbs, we have our, again, tan, dot, 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 which is usually where our adjective or adverb is gonna go, and then the word como, and it's gonna mean as, something as. And the thing that's gonna go right there, again, will be an adjective or an adverb. So again, remember that the first example sentences I have, these are adjectives that we're gonna see in here. So in this first sentence, we can follow along with our formula, and we can see here in the middle the word tan, just like we see up there. Then we have our adjective, bueno, good, and then we have the word como. So we have no idea what this sentence says yet because we're not looking at it yet, but with this tan, bueno, como, we know that it means as good as, because it says as, dot, 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 as. So as good as, remember that this is an adjective, good. So we have el libro es tan bueno como la película. El libro, the book, is tan bueno como, as good as la película, the movie. The book is as good as the movie. Please take one note and remember, even from the prior video with the comparisons of inequality, that our adjective that we're working with right now, bueno, has to change feminine, masculine, singular, plural based on what it's describing, because that's what adjectives do, right? So bueno right now is in its masculine and singular form, because what is it describing? It's describing el libro. So we have the book is as good as the movie, and remember that bueno is masculine and singular because it's describing el libro. On the other hand, if you look down at the second example to show you that our adjective will have to change in gender and number, I just made it plural. I'm sorry, plural. I just made it singular, feminine, because the thing that we're describing now is going to be la película. So we have la película es tan buena como el libro. What would that sentence mean? The movie is as good as the book. Again, buena is in its singular and feminine form because now it's describing the movie, which is singular and feminine, la película. So again, el libro needed the adjective bueno, la película needs the adjective buena. Everything we're talking about is still singular, but this is our masculine singular adjective, and this is our feminine singular adjective. So, el libro es tan bueno como la película, the book is as good as the movie, and la película es tan buena como el libro, the movie is as good as the book. So then the only thing that we need to do to work with adjectives and comparisons of equality would be to pluralize them. So if I wanted to say the books are as good as the movies, the books are as good as the movies, obviously this would be los libros. Our es would change to son, los libros son. Tan is going to stay the same, but our adjective has to change now because it's describing los libros, which are plural, right? So it's going to change to buenos. So it's going to be los libros son tan buenos, B-U-E-N-O-S, masculine and plural to describe los libros. Los libros son tan buenos como las películas. So the books are as good as the movies. And then just down here, if you wanted to say the movies are as good as the books, since the movies would be feminine. And plural, our adjective is going to need to change, and it's going to need to be in its feminine and plural form. So instead of buena, it's going to change to what? Buenas, right? B-U-E-N-A-S. So our new sentence to say the movies are as good as the books would be las películas son, our tan is going to stay the same. On that note, our como has also stayed the same in all of these sentences with the adjectives, but our buena is going to change to buenas. Las películas son tan buenas como los libros. So they've gone through masculine, feminine, singular, plural, and so we had everything from el libro es tan bueno como la película. Then we had la película es tan buena como el libro. And then we pluralized things and we took it to los libros son tan buenos como las películas. And then las películas son tan buenas como los libros. So that's all you can do with comparisons of equality with adjectives. I'm going to leave this up here on the board and then just switch out some sentences for some examples with adverbs. Remember, adverbs describe how a verb is done, and we'll see that in just a second. So now we have comparisons of equality with adverbs. Notice that this formula up here has stayed the same. We have tan, and then that is where our adverb is going to go, and then the word como, and it's going to be as well as or as fast as, something like that, right? So describing how a verb is done, either well or fast, for example. It doesn't really matter what changes in this sentence. Our adverb is always going to stay the same. Please remember to not change your adverb describing how a verb is done based on feminine or masculine or singular or plural. Doesn't matter who we're talking about. Other components of the sentence will have to change, but our adverb is going to stay the same. And you can see that our adverb in both of these sentences is bien. So that's going to mean well, right? So in this first example, mi hermano, my brother, baila, from the verb bailar, B-A-I-L-A, present tense, third person singular, conjugation based off of mi hermano. So bailar, to dance, but mi hermano baila tan bien como mi hermana. Obviously, hermana, sister, hermano, brother. My brother dances as well as my sister. If we wanted to switch it up and say my sister dances as well as my brother, nothing is going to change except for this ratio change of the brother and the sister, mi hermano and mi hermana. So we could say mi hermana, my sister, dances as well as my brother. Mi hermana baila tan bien como mi hermano. And nothing has changed in the sentence in terms of our comparison of equality with adverbs. So we still have our tan, and then our bien, so our adverb, and then our como, meaning as well as. Here, whenever we have our plural form of this similar kind of sentence, my brothers dance as well as my sisters. Again, notice that we still have our tan, bien, como, because with adverbs, nothing needs to change, feminine or masculine or singular or plural. So, my brothers dance as well as my sisters. Mis hermanos bailan. Obviously, the conjugation of our verb needs to change. That's a Spanish one kind of thing. So, mis hermanos bailan tan bien como mis hermanas. My brothers dance as well as my sisters. And if we wanted to switch who dances better, and we wanted to say my sisters dance as well as my brothers, then we will have mis hermanas bailan tan bien como mis hermanos. So the thing to remember with comparisons of equality with adverbs is that you're going to have your tan, That's never going to change. You're going to have your adverb that is also never going to change because it doesn't matter whether we're doing singular or plural or feminine or masculine. And then you're going to have the word como, and it's always going to be something like as well as. We could use an example like, I run as fast as she runs, or she runs as slowly as I run. It doesn't matter what adverb, whether it's fast, rápido, or whether it's slow or slowly. If we said lento or despacio, doesn't matter whether we're talking about someone who runs slowly or quickly. If that someone is a dog or a cat or a man or a woman or an elephant or I don't know, caterpillar. Doesn't matter who does the action. Since we don't have to worry about feminine or masculine or singular or plural, just remember that your adverbs are always going to stay the same, and we're going to have this tan and the como also staying the same, meaning as something as, and that something is describing how the adjective is done. So more examples coming up, but in a different usage of comparisons of equality. Comparisons of equality with nouns. So we have our formulaic stuff up here. We remember that this first stuff that I have written up here, tanto and tanta with como, is for when things are singular. So remember, tanto, T-A-N-T-O, or tanta, T-A-N-T-A, como, tanto, tanta, como, is going to mean as much, something as, and that something is going to be a noun because we're using comparisons of equality with nouns. Remember, this is our singular, so tanto is masculine singular, and tanta is feminine singular. Tantos and tantas, T-A-N-T-O-S, and T-A-N-T-A-S with the como is going to be for our plural functionality of this. So tantos obviously is our masculine plural, and tantas is our feminine plural. That como is going to mean as many as. So I just have 4 examples up on the board to illustrate masculine, feminine, singular, plural, and I will read them in the event that anyone can't see them very well, or part of it, or if there's a glare, or whatever. So I just made all of them about my dog and my cat, and here we go. The only thing that I have changed in this sentence is the noun, since I want you guys to see how the noun itself affects the sentence or any other component of the sentence. The only thing that I changed in the sentence is the noun. When you look up on the board, the things that are underlined in the sentence are the nouns. So the nouns in this sentence are pelo, pelo meaning hair, comida meaning food, amigos, friends, and pulgas meaning fleas. Stupid example, but I needed something that was feminine and plural as the first thing that came to my head for whatever weird, gross reason. But here we go. So remember, all of this, when it's singular, when what we're comparing is singular, is going to mean as much as, and whenever it's plural, it's going to mean as many as. We do the same thing in English. So we have mi perro, my dog, tiene. So all of these sentences are going to start off with mi perro tiene, my dog has. So we have mi perro tiene tanto pelo como mi gato. So what would that mean? Remember that pelo is masculine and singular. So el pelo, masculine and singular. That's why our tanto is in its masculine and singular form. And then we have our como right here. Tanto pelo como. So we have my dog has as much hair as my cat. notice again, as much as is what's written up there at the top. So my dog has as much hair as my cat in its masculine and singular form. Tanto pelo como. Then we move down to our next example, and I give you something that is in its feminine and singular form, comida. So our tanta is going to be necessary in its feminine and singular form, obviously. So now we have, mi perro tiene tanta comida como mi gato. My dog has as much food as my cat. Mi perro tiene tanta comida como mi gato. That would be your example of this usage when it's feminine and singular. So again, my dog has as much food as my cat. Then I went down here and pluralized our noun, so amigos and pulgas, so that you can see tantos and tantas in action. And we know that in their plural forms, it doesn't mean as much as, like as much hair or as much food. Now it's going to mean as many friends, or in this last weird one, as many fleas. So we have, mi perro tiene tantos amigos como mi gato. My dog has as many friends as my cat. My dog has as many friends as my cat. Mi perro tiene tantos, masculine and plural, amigos como mi gato. And then down here, my dog has as many fleas as my cat. And again, the reason is not true. It's just not true. It's just a sentence. The reason tantas is in its feminine and plural form is because the noun that we are doing a comparison of equality with is feminine and plural. Pulgas, P-U-L-G-A-S is las pulgas, technically. So we have, mi perro tiene tantas, feminine and plural, tantas pulgas como mi gato. Once again, mi perro tiene tanto pelo como mi gato. My dog has as much hair as my cat. Mi perro tiene tanta comida como mi gato. My dog has as much food as my cat. Both of these being singular. First one being singular and masculine. Second one being singular and feminine. These last two, both of them being plural. The first one being plural and masculine. The second one being plural and feminine. Mi perro tiene tantos amigos como mi gato. So my dog has as many friends as my cat. And last but not least, and the grossest one of all, mi perro tiene tantas pulgas como mi gato. My dog has as many fleas as my cat. So the thing to remember with comparisons of equality whenever we're working with nouns is that if the noun is masculine, your tanto needs to be masculine. If your noun is plural, then it would have to be tantos. If your noun is feminine, then it needs to be tanta. And if it is plural, then it would have to be tantas. So that would be the only thing to remember for these comparisons of equality with nouns. Last set of examples for comparisons of equality is with verbs. So this is the easiest one of all. Probably the most challenging part of this kind of sentence for anybody is just remembering what conjugation of a verb they need. But that would be a Spanish one thing to look back at. So we have comparisons of equality with verbs. Whether or not you guys can see it clearly, like I said, I'll always say things out loud and spell it when I think it's necessary or crucial that you know how it's spelled. But we have comparisons of equality with verbs. In Spanish, you're going to have tanto como, so T-A-N-T-O, como, C-O-M-O, right? So tanto como is going to be together. It's never going to change. this tanto is always going to stay tanto, the como is always going to stay como, and they're always going to be together whenever we're using them with verbs. And in English, it's going to be as much as. So all of these things right here are verbs, and that is what we're working with. So I've underlined this. It doesn't matter how we change the sentence. We can throw in any verb we want to in here. I have it in the present tense. You can see that we have maybe the subject of the sentence, and then we have our verb, which is what we're looking at. And then we have, as I promised, that tanto como is going to stay together. And this says tanto como, and it stays together. And in our sentence, it's going to mean as much as. So in my first example, I'm using the verb jugar, juega in the present tense. It happens to be an OTUE stem change verb in the present tense, but jugar, to play. So mi perro juega tanto como mi gato. Obviously, that means my dog plays as much as my cat. Then we could switch out the verb juega for the verb come, obviously from the verb comer, to eat. So we could say, mi perro come tanto como mi gato, and that will mean my dog eats as much as my cat. And then we could switch out that verb for the verb corre. Remember that the verb correr means to run, right? So present tense, we have my dog runs as much as my cat. So mi perro corre tanto como mi gato. And last but not least, we could switch out that verb for the verb dormir, duerme, and it happens to be another OTUE stem change verb in the present tense. So, mi perro duerme, my dog sleeps as much as my cat. Mi perro duerme tanto como mi gato. The thing that I promised y'all in this one is that the tanto como right here would always stay connected, would always stay tanto is never going to change. The only thing that's going to change in this sentence might be the subject or what you're comparing it to, or maybe we could compare my cat to my dog. But the tanto como is always going to stay together, and it's never going to morph to something feminine or plural or whatever, and it's always going to mean as much as. So once again, with juega, my dog plays as much as my cat. With come, my dog eats as much as my cat. With corre, my dog runs as much as my cat. And with the verb duerme, my dog sleeps as much as my cat. I'll say them all in Spanish one more time, just so you all can hear it, and then that will be the end of comparisons of equality. So we have mi perro juega tanto como mi gato. Mi perro come tanto como mi gato. Mi perro corre, runs. Mi perro corre tanto como mi gato. And mi perro duerme tanto como mi gato. My dog sleeps as much as my cat. So that's all for comparisons of equality.